The school grounds are completely silent. At this time of day, the school is like a forgotten mosque, empty and distant from the hustle and bustle of the city. Neither the hell of arcueid from earlier, nor the illusion of a city shrouded in a white cocoon, have encroached upon the confines of this sanctuary. At least, not yet.
落ち着きましたか、遠野くん。背中を打っているようですが、怪我は？
ありません。さっきまでは痛んでいましたけど。
Probably because I'm pretty far along in my transformation into a vampire. Back when arcueid knocked me to the ground, the sheer force of the impact damaged my shoulder blades. But at this point, they've already healed. No, they've been restored.
それより先輩、アルクエイドから離れたいのはわかるけど、どうして学校に？
ここなら他に被害は出ませんから。遠野くんは先に校舎の中に入っていてください。彼女の排除は私がします。
My thoughts freeze at her sudden declaration. No, that's a lie. I've long known this was coming. I just didn't want to have to think about it.
先輩はアルクエイドと戦うんですか？
それ以外に選択肢はないでしょう。彼女の方からこちらにやってくるんですから。今代のロア。いえ、他ならぬあなたを殺すために。
I fight back the urge to argue. What Senpai is saying is true. I think back to how arcueid was acting earlier. At this point, killing me is the only thing on her mind. Any chance we had of talking things out passed long in the park. Any chance we had of talking things out passed long ago in the park.
もう時間はありません。
Gotta hurry up.
今、アルクエイドが杭を外しましたから。校舎に移動しましょう。遮蔽物がある方が人間には有利です。
Ciel Senpai tells me we're going, then grabs my arm and starts running toward the school building.
どのみち遠野くんを守るためには、彼女と決着をつけなくてはいけなかった。
We race down the moonlit corridor. Senpai traces her finger over the walls as she runs, engraving them with countless magecraft formulae. That sound effect is sick. Needless to say, they're traps set to take down the vampire that's about to come after us.
彼女が活動していると、そのしもべであるロアの意志も活性化する。遠野くんの中のロアを抑えるには、まず彼女を眠らせるか、追い返す必要があった。ですから、ここで彼女を倒すのは一石二鳥です。何があったのかは知りませんが、あの出血量はアルクエイドであっても致命傷でしょう。杭打ち機を壊されましたが、手持ちの武装だけで倒しきってみせます。
Sure hope so.
ここまでですね。遠野くんは3階で隠れていてください。彼女と戦うのは私の役割ですから。
No, I thought it would be the tea ceremony round. That would be funny. I can't do that. I bear the responsibility for making arcueid like this. Ciel Senpai's voice has sounded a bit dispirited for a while now. She's no match for arcueid. She knows it, and it's clear that she's just trying not to worry me.
俺も戦います。あいつをおかしくしたのも、先輩の言いつけを守れなかったのも、俺がバカだったからです。だから、せめて自分でケリをつけないと。
遠野くん、私怒りますよ。
Senpai glares at me intensely, but the look in her eyes isn't anger. It's the look of someone struggling not to lose their nerve.
私の体のことは知っているでしょ？私は何があっても死にません。けど遠野くんは別です。確かにあなたの目ならアルクエイドを倒せるかもしれませんが、その前に彼女の爪があなたを殺します。遠野くん言ったじゃないですか。私を幸せにしてくれるって。ならお願いですからこんなところで死なないでください。
でも先輩一人じゃあいつには。
見くびらないでください。私が今まで何体の使徒を仕留めてきたと思っているんですか？こと吸血鬼退治なら私の右に出る者はいないのです。
Senpai confidently raises her clenched fist in the air. But even as she does, I can see that her fingertips are trembling.
ダメだよ先輩、俺はそれでも。
I can't run away and leave her all on her own. Before I can put those thoughts into words, Senpai cuts me off by gently placing her finger to my lips.
その先はそれこそ言っちゃダメです。お願いですから私のわがままを聞いてください。一度ぐらい、本当に一度ぐらい、私だけの意志であなたを守りたいんです。そうしないと私は遠野くんに心から笑顔を向けられなくなっちゃうじゃないですか。
We love each other. Tears well up in her eyes as she speaks. No.
私がこんなに早く帰ってきたのはダメだったからなんです。
Oh, the church wasn't convinced?
遠野くんを助ける手段は教会にはありません。
Oh, they don't have any way of saving you, okay.
教会にあるものはロアを利用する方針だけで、転生体を助けようとする方法なんてなかったんです。
Damn.
あなたを失わずにロアだけを殺す手段なんてどこにも。
Oh. That's... well... I guess that's just the way it is. I had a feeling this wouldn't be over so easily.
でもそれはシエル先輩が泣くようなことじゃない。
いいえ、私がもっとしっかりしていれば、ロアを追うことばかり考えず、もっと他の道を探していれば違う可能性だってあったはずなんです。だからもう私にできることはロアの侵食を少しでも遅くすることしかできない。苦しいって遠野くんがどれだけ苦しいのか知っているのに、それでも少しでも長くそばにいてほしいって、そんな自分勝手なことばっかり考えてるんです、私は。
I don't want to see Senpai cry. I don't want to see her cry. So instead, I embrace her.
遠野くん。
俺だってできるだけ一緒にいたい。先輩は自分勝手じゃないですよ。自分勝手なのは俺の方なんだから。それに先輩がしつこくロアを追いかけていたから今があるんじゃないですか。全部を取るなんてできない。こうして先輩と一緒にいられる今の代わりにロアを消す手段を作られても嬉しくない。そんなの全然欲求不満です。
でもそれじゃ。
勘違いしないで。俺ロアなんかに負けるつもりはこれっぽっちもありませんから。
I think back on the clue Arcueid gave me. It's going to be a gamble for sure, but there's still a way to kill Roa without killing me.
ロアの相手は俺がします。自分のことですからね。けど確かに俺じゃアルクエイドを止められないんで、そっちは任せます。吸血鬼に関してなら百戦錬磨なんですよね、先輩は。
はい、あ ありがとうございます。
I feel Senpai's arms tighten their grip around me. Standing there in each other's arms, our lips almost touch. But suddenly, she hops away from me like a rabbit.
キスはダメですよ。そんなことされたら私嬉しすぎて気が抜けちゃいます。ですから今は抱き合うだけにしておきましょう。
Fair.
だね。じゃあ少し離れてるけど、ピンチになったら呼んでください。すぐに駆けつけますから。
Senpai nods silently. Good luck out there, Ciel. I put my trust in her and turn to leave.
ごめんなさい。一つだけ忘れ物がありました。
忘れ物ですか？
はい。明日になったら街に遊びに行きましょう。
See. I'm sure they've done this before, right? The way they like do shit like this in emotional moments to be like, oh, once this is over, let's do blah blah blah. Something awful's gonna happen. Something awful's gonna happen. I already know. I already know something bad's gonna happen, man. They always try to get you with these emotional moments, like literally in pretty much almost any like show with like even the slightest bit of action in it. They always do these kinds of scenes. They'd be like, yeah, once this is over, let's do this and be happy. Like nothing ever happened. But they always throw a curveball at you and just does something awful to like one of the parties, and it's just like, God damn it, why would you even do this? So I really hope what you're saying, actually happens, and not just some cataclysmic event that might happen to either you or me. Damn it, because I want to be happy. But shit like this just makes me unhappy, because it perpetuates the narrative that the something you're describing won't happen at all, and something completely different will, and not in a good way. Her soft smile takes my breath away. Thank goodness. The fact that she saw that promise as something special means the world to me.
それじゃあ、約束。
I hold out my hand.
はい。今度はちゃんと守ってくださいね。
Senpai's hand brushes against mine. After a firm handshake, I leave the soft sensation of her hand slip from my fingers. Showtime. It's quiet. I hide myself in the third-floor corridor that connects the two school buildings, grip my knife, and take a deep breath. I have faith in Senpai. If she says she'll protect me, then I know she'll keep her word no matter what. But I feel the same way about her. Just as she wants to protect me, I too want to protect Senpai.
そうだよな。何を弱気になってるんだ、俺は。
Right now, I need to be planning ahead at least a little. I may be on standby for the time being, but I can't just sit on the sidelines forever. Even Arcueid is bound to leave herself open at least momentarily while fighting Ciel Senpai. And when she does, that'll be my chance to attack.
俺が先輩を勝たせる。
If I make even one wrong move, Arcueid will tear me to pieces with her claws. Senpai told me to fall back because she was afraid of that possibility. I know what I'm planning is basically the opposite of what she asked me to do, but I'll be sure to keep a careful eye on the battle, and only jump in to lend a hand right at the decisive moment. Together, we'll be able to prevail against Arcueid, and proudly force her to accept our relationship.
なんだそりゃ。仲人役の神父か、あいつは。
Imagine that shit. Your ex fucking, pronouncing you husband and wife. That's an uncomfortable thought. Despite the circumstances, I can't help but smile.
お前との決着はその後だ。いいだろう、ロア。
Once we've driven Arcueid away, It'll be time for me to roll the dice on an incredibly risky gamble. There's no guarantee that I'll make it out alive. Hell, I don't know if that method will even work. But it's the only option left. Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I'm sorry. The fact that you have those eyes must have some kind of meaning. There will be a time in your future when you'll need them.
ああ、そうだね。きっとこれが俺の役割なんだ、先生。
I've made up my mind. All that's left now is to wait for the battle between Ciel Senpai and Arcueid to crash. Guess who's here? The whole building shakes. It's like a dump truck rammed straight into the school at top speed.
まさか、もう
The building continues to shake. She probably charged straight in, smashing through one of the walls down there in the process. It's only been a few minutes since Senpai said Arcueid had managed to remove the stake. Did she seriously come hurtling straight here all the way from the park in that little time? Without even stopping once? Without even bothering to check for any traps on the battlefield? And without any regard for anything but her own emotions? The tremors won't stop. Unbelievable. Arcueid's strength and behavior may have always been ludicrous, sure, but at least she was always logical. She had an understanding with human society. She abided by the rule that vampires must remain hidden in order to survive. She may have been ruthless about ticking off her objectives, but she would never be ruthless in how she went about those objectives. But this time is different. She's become someone who's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her objective. Almost like a completely different character that, even though it shares the same name as her, they act completely differently between each other. Someone no different from Vav. I think back on the fight that took place at the park the other night. The only reason Ciel Senpai had been able to put any pressure on Arcueid is because the latter had, in her own way, been conforming to the rules of human society. She had her pride to consider, not as a dead apostle, but as a true ancestor. However, if Arcueid were to abandon every last bit of pride she had,
違う。捨てたんじゃない。
I tore it to pieces. The person directly below me isn't the woman I once knew. She's a vampire who's as bloodthirsty as Vav was, if not more so. Thinking that everything would be the same as before was a fatal mistake.
先輩
I start sprinting toward the stairs leading to the floor below. I can't believe I was naive enough to think I'd be able to exploit some momentary opening. I should have just abandoned all rational thought, same as her, and mustered every last bit of strength I have in me. What's going on down there? What's the situation?
Who the fuck fucked up this house like this? Good God!
Sheesh. Get a good fucking look at this place, god damn. Imagine walking to school the next day and seeing all this shit. Like, god damn. All this blood here, and the walls are cracked, and then what the hell are these, like, swords in the ground and the walls? What the hell happened here? It's like something out of a nightmare. I stand frozen in place on the second floor landing. The corridor had been brutally torn apart. Unlike the altar beneath the department store, or Vlas' intense cold, the scene before me is at least something that fits within the bounds of common sense. And yet, my legs won't move. The sight has taken my breath away and rooted my consciousness to the spot. There's nothing normal about the atmosphere in this corridor. Each and every particle, each and every speck of matter, they've all been coated with the will of Arcueid, making this place feel as suffocating and claustrophobic as the inside of the womb. And here she stands, choking the hell out of Ciel Senpai. At the center of it all, the battle between the two of them has ended in an overwhelmingly one-sided victory. They're only 30 meters away, but it feels like an uncrossable expanse. A vast number of black keys litter the corridor. The blood and scraps of flesh clinging to the walls are all slowly writhing back toward Blank, trying to return to their original form. There are no weapons in Blank's hands. Arcueid has pinned her against the wall by the neck, leaving her completely helpless. The gruesome sight almost reminds me of a butterfly specimen pinned in its case. Blank is practically on the verge of death, and it seems as though she can't see anything other than Arcueid. Arcueid's fingers touch the base of Blank's neck. Her claws then pierce Blank's skin before sliding down in one smooth motion all the way to her waist. Out sprays a vivid stream of liquid. Arcueid has filleted her as if she were a live squid. Whoa, so... what about that thing about you not being able to die after, you know, pretty much anything? Can you, like, merge together and, like, squirm and, like, fuse the two halves of your body back together? Like, can you do that, or... Arcueid plunges her hand into Blank's chest. There's a wet, sucking sound as her outstretched fingers gouge out Blank's heart as easily as one might brush aside freshly fallen snow. This is just cruel. Even if she can't die, pulling out her heart like that while she's alive is just way too cruel. Arcueid rests her claws on top of Blank's head. She then casually drags her hand all the way from Blank's head down to her crotch, scraping off her flesh as though running an eraser down her body.
Arcueid!
I yell for her to stop. My body is still frozen in place. Arcueid turns around. She glances at me nonchalantly, as if she had just spotted an insect. Oh, welcome to the party, dear Shiki. The act alone is enough to make me forget that I'm even alive. And those eyes, yep.
ちゃんといるじゃない。そこで待っていて。すぐに終わらせてあげるから。
Cackling with laughter, Arcueid inflicts even more pain on Blank. With one hand still around Blank's broken neck, she uses her other arm to rip her body apart over and over again. He loves me not. He loves me not. Bro.
やっぱりロア本人を殺さないとダメってこと。
I hear the sound of rending flesh. It's the same endless cycle of death and resurrection that Blank experienced back at the church.
私がロアを取り込んでしまえば、あなたは私が死ぬまで生き続けるしかなくなる。あなたが死ぬには、教会で用意した転生批判の聖剣でロアを殺さないといけない。
I noticed your skirt is still normal. Is that like gonna grow magically? Unless you're just gonna stay that way.
それがどうしたって。
And the long skirt is just, you know, a callback. You know. For context, in case you don't know, Red Arcueid has like the long skirt that she had in the original Tsukihime. And you know, in the remake they shortened it. And so, you know, when you see Arcueid in her regular form, you see her with the short skirt, and then Red Arcueid has the long skirt, so... I don't know if that would be translated here, but, you know, just curious. Still barely clinging to consciousness, Blank responds with pain in her voice.
けれど、いいの？ロアが死ぬということは、あなたも死ぬということなのよ。ロアを消滅させてしまえば、あなたのこの体も普通の、つまらない人間の体に戻ってしまうでしょう。それが私の望みです。そう、かわいそうね。あなたの望みは叶えられない。私は今度こそロアを取り込む。あそこにいる肉塊をこの手で何百回と引き裂いてね。
Blank's body convulses violently. Her red heart is pulled out whole, along with the rest of her organs. Despite that, she regains consciousness immediately, coughing and spewing blood out of her mouth. Click. Ooh, did you see the floor? That's the floor of her apartment. You're getting flashbacks, yeah. That violent intent is coming back. Whatever possessed you to kill Arcueid the first time is coming back. Severe headache. Nausea. I slam my head against the wall. Look, now isn't the time to be worried about him. I absolutely can't let her lay another finger on Blank. Look. Stare so hard that all the blood vessels in your brain risk burning out from the strain. Can you see the lines now? Look, look, look. Find the point of death that will end that vampire's life. I feel like I'm going insane. I can sense the death of life. I can see the death of minerals. I can even see the death of emptiness. And yet, there isn't a single cause of death on Arcueid. Someone once told me that so long as she exists within nature, she is the perfect life form. True ancestors, who are extensions of nature itself, can draw as much energy as they want from the planet. And so, she can't die. She doesn't have a lifespan. She has no limits. But phrased the other way, she's only perfect so long as she exists within nature. Find it. It has to exist. If I can see the death of all things, then it has to be here somewhere. I was going about it all wrong. Arcueid doesn't have any causes of death. However, if I kill the thing that nullifies those causes of death, then she will no longer be a perfect being. Sure, that makes sense. There it is. It's pretty far. Under the circumstances, with the enemy right in front of me, I can't just sprint off. She'll suspect that I'm up to something. She'd definitely chase me down and kill me. But I can't allow this to go on any longer. I can't just sit back and allow that cycle to continue. No way. Did she pick up on my sudden resolve or something? Or does she have some sort of organ that lets her perceive when something is fated to die? With a suspicious expression on her face, Arcueid looks first at me, and then in the direction of where I'm looking. Muttering to herself, dumbfounded, she releases her grip on Ciel-senpai. I don't have time to hesitate. I don't even have time to use the stairs like a normal human being. Shut up. You really think I'm going to stop just because you told me to? I jump out of the window facing to the schoolyard before Arcueid can even start moving. It's right in the center of the athletics field. It's pretty far. Can I make it in time? Behind me, I hear the sound of her smashing through a wall for whatever reason. That wasted effort gives me confidence that I can make it. Arcueid may be fast, but I'm not exactly running at human speed either. For once, I'm going to outpace her. I reach the conspicuously large point. Arcueid is gunning toward me in a straight line. But before she reaches me, I stab my knife into the incredibly vast point at my feet. At the depth of this portion of the very world itself. I hear a bang as it splits. With a single strike, I sever the thread of life. Why is something like that under the schoolyard, though? I I kill the substance that underlies everything. I kill all of the nature of this region, the source that supplied Arcueid with the planet's force of life.
考えたわね、シキ。
The avatar in white is bearing down on me, her eyes fixed on me and me alone. You can see the lines now. A handful of lines crisscross her body. Even with the blessing of the night, her powers have been brought back down to earth.
よし
I can do this. I can definitely do this. I can kill her like this. But before I even have the chance to get fired up by this newfound possibility, the world before my eyes is tinted red by the blood gushing from my own mouth. I can hardly believe it, but I didn't even feel the impact or any pain, or anything else for that matter. Maybe because she was moving incredibly fast. The sound of my flesh being torn at my bones being broken is only now reaching my ears. A massive volume of liquid is spilling out of me. As it turns out, Arcueid's claws pierced my chest in less than an instant. My vision starts to blur. Everything around me starts rapidly fading away. Her white arm has passed right through my old scar and is now sticking out of my chest. This injury would no doubt have killed me on the spot if I were human. Except, I'm not dead yet. The way I am now, I've got enough left in me for one last swing. The pitch-black shadow of death begins to slowly creep up my ankles. As if I care. Yoink. I choke back the blood spilling from my mouth, and use my free hand to punch my knife into the line on her chest. Was that Arcueid's voice just now? I can't hear very well anymore. My head is melting. Am I passing out from the pain of being skewered by Arcueid? Or did I burn out my brain by pushing it to its absolute limits? Either way, it doesn't change the fact that death has put its arm around my shoulders. My consciousness is fading, but before it's gone, I'll sever her line with this knife. I want to settle things with her myself, if possible. I understand her pretty well at this point. I only spent a few days with her, but it was good enough to realize that even though she's completely devoid of common sense, and says all sorts of things that don't even make sense coming from a vampire, she's still an amazing person in her own right. Though, having said all that, how do I put this?
だじゃねえ。死にづらいにも程があるだろ。疲れたんなら消えろ、吸血鬼。
ふざけないで。この程度で私は死なないんだから。
Arcueid grabs my head with her hand. But before she can crush it, I drag my knife down through her chest.
いいから消えろ。ロアは俺が連れて行く。お前に手間なんかかけさせないで、必ずあの世に連れて行ってやる。だから消えろ。俺はお前とバカな殺し合いなんざやりたくない。
今さら何よ。私を拒んだのはあなたの方じゃない。
Arcueid's grip on my head tightens. I can hear my skull beginning to crack.
ドアはここで殺すの。絶対に殺すの。そうでもしなければ帰らないって言ったでしょ。
この
I get that you're throwing a tantrum, but enough is enough. You know damn well that killing Roa here won't achieve anything. You've known all along. My knife dances through the air. The blade slices through Arcueid's arm without making so much as a sound. It wasn't enough to sever her white arm completely, but it's enough to release me from its grasp. Thank God. It looks like Arcueid is also on her last legs. She takes a faltering step backwards. The fresh blood loss must be taking its toll. Yeah, look at that wound. Damn. The arm she'd stabbed through my chest comes sliding back out. It doesn't feel like she's near me anymore. As soon as I confirm she's backed off, I crumple to the ground.
シキ。
I can hear Arcueid's unsteady voice coming from somewhere. I can't speak properly. Splash. When I open my mouth, the only thing that comes out is red blood.
シキ。
It's fading. The overpowering, bloodthirsty aura that had hung over her is fading. I don't know if the wounds I inflicted on her brought her back to reality or what. But Arcueid is reverting back to her usual self, to the woman I knew so well.
よかった。
I don't even know what it is I'm thankful for anymore. I guess in the end, I really do.
しっかりしてシキ。そんな傷ぐらいシキが私のものになってくれるならすぐに平気になるんだから。
Arcueid reaches out her hand. Even as my consciousness fades, I hold up my hand to stop her.
なんでシキ、このままだと死んじゃうんだよ。いい、さっきのことは許してあげる。シエルのことも気にしない。そんなことより私シキに亡くなってほしくない。だからお願いだから私のものに。
No. Even though I can't even breathe properly, I shake my head.
わからない。シキが死んじゃったらロアはまた転生してしまう。シキだってロアを恨んでいるんでしょ。そのままだとあなたが死んでしまった後、ロアがその体を乗っ取るだけ。そんな結末でいいの？
Right. That's definitely something I can't allow. But even if I were to do as Arcueid asks, the same thing would only end up happening all over again. Even if I were to let Arcueid suck my blood, become something akin to the original Roa, and gain the strength of will necessary to keep him in check. If Arcueid never acknowledges him, then Roa still won't ever disappear.
ダメだ。お前の言うことは聞けない。
どうしてそんなに私のことが嫌いなの？
Of course not. I don't think I could even lie and say I did.
お前の気持ちもわかるけど、もう許してやってくれ。ロアはさ、お前に振り向いて欲しかっただけなんだ。そのために何回も生き返って、お前がやってくるのを心待ちにしていた。でも、あいつは人間なんだ。お前のように長く長く生きられる命じゃない。
So does this make Roa the biggest simp in history? Yeah. Immortality is far beyond humanity's grasp. Roa thought that he'd be able to preserve himself through reincarnation. But even that has its limits. Reincarnation only allowed him to create an alter ego, one that had the same sense of purpose, but carried only a shadow of his original memories, his original self, and the emotions he had felt back then. The things that he had once felt were beautiful, along with the heart with which he had appreciated their beauty, had both begun to fade as the years drew on. Such loss of purity was something that Roa, more than anyone, could not bear.
ロアはいないのと同じなんだ。あいつは始まりの命令に沿って同じことを繰り返すだけのプログラムと変わらない。だからこの辺りで終わりにしてやらないと。
シキ、 あなた、もう。
Sanity returns to Arcueid's eyes. Their golden irises fade back to red. Her golden hair flutters softly beneath the moon. As I thought, the woman standing there is the arcueid that I know and love. I gaze up at her the same as I would the moon. I'm sorry, Ciel-senpai. I just can't help but find Arcueid so incredibly beautiful. Her red eyes, her resolute but friendly behavior, the delicate white outline of her body, even the red blood-stain blossoming from the wound I just inflicted on her chest. They're all so very beautiful. Which is why I hate that it's come to this. It breaks my heart that this is how everything ends. Honestly, if she'd only come to her senses a bit earlier, I wouldn't have had to do what I've done.
そうなの、シキ。あなた、もう、ロアと一つなの。
Also, I find it kinda ironic how, like, this moment between Shiki and Arcueid is happening, and the opening of the Arcueid route, the piano cover of it is playing right now. That's fun. I wonder if we'll have a piano cover of the Ciel route opening. Probably. I don't know. All I know is that this was too much for me. Even now, my memories are crumbling away. Tonoshiki and Rose beliefs are starting to become one. I feel like someone warned me about this. That if I tried to see something that cannot be seen, my blood vessels would burst and turn me into a cripple.
何よ、バカ。それじゃあシエルに殺されてやるっていうの、あなたは。
まさか。けど、お前のおかげでこのざまだ。もう、長くは持たないだろう。
Arcueid looked down at her own body. At the knife wound that runs in a perfect vertical line down her chest.
信じられない。今まで私をこんなに傷つけた相手はいなかったわ。
The fact that you're still standing and talking normally like this with that big ass wound is kind of crazy. I mean, you are a vampire after all, but still, Jesus. I mean, yeah, of course she hasn't. Nobody else would be able to even put a scratch on Arcueid. That's the one thing I can't help feeling a little proud of.
本当に残念。けど、私もそろそろ限界みたい。この傷を治すには故郷に戻って、また長い眠りにつかないと。
だろ。なら、さっさと帰っちまえ。
Arcueid doesn't respond. It's possible that, in reality, there was no long silence. That it really did last only a moment. And that I simply didn't want it to feel like our parting was over so soon.
嫌な男。最後まで憎まれ口を叩くんだから。ちょっとぐらい優しいこと言ってくれるかなって期待したのに。
なんだそりゃ。優しくして欲しかったら、もっとか弱いとこ見せろ、バカ。
Since she asked nicely, I tell her how I really feel. I think back on the other night, when the two of us were gallivanting around the city together. Even if we did spend the whole time arguing with each other and never actually touched.
でも、四季のそういうところが好きだったな。
Leaving those final words behind, she fades away like mist, a smile still on her face. Definitely has different vibes and emotions of when Arcueid said goodbye to Shiki and the Arcueid route. For sure.
なんだ。同じだったのか。
Muttering to myself, I look up at the moon. In that final fleeting moment, we had gone back to the relationship we'd had before. I had to be in love with her. I don't care if it had anything to do with Ro's influence. All I know is that I wanted to see even more of her smile. So the fact that some of our last moments were spent killing each other is too painful to bear. How did it come to this? I feel like neither of us, at least, did anything that terribly wrong. My bleeding won't stop. When I try and breathe, coagulated blood gushes out of my mouth like a fountain. My consciousness is fading. If only Arcueid had acted a little more ladylike. There's no coming back from having a hole this big ripped through your chest. Or at least not for someone like me, who's only a half vampire. A tremor runs through my body. It isn't the feeling of my heart beating. It stopped pumping long ago. It's coming from my head. This is probably all because I overworked my brain to drive Arcueid away. I, the eternity of Tonoshiki, am being slowly wielded away, while Roa's will keep growing stronger. It won't be long before my body stops working. If I die when it does, then it'll belong to Roa. Even if this wound is fatal for me, I'm sure that a vampire like him would have no trouble reviving from it. In which case, I'd end up repeating the same mistakes Senpai once did.
ごめん。
I know it's sinful for me to try and apologize now, but I just can't stop myself. Another tremor courses through me. I really won't be able to hold on much longer. Before I pass out completely, I take a good hard look at my bone body. There is a point within the scar of my chest. A point that spells death for me and for Roa. Tono-kun, you told me before that you would make me happy, right? So please, I'm begging you, don't get yourself killed in a place like this. Is he gonna do it? With the last bit of energy he has, is he gonna do it? And so, all I can do is apologize. Even though I wanted to do so many things for her, in the end, I couldn't even grant that one wish. If nothing else, I've got to at least set her free from the ties that so burden her. I take a deep breath and level the knife at my chest. The tip of the blade is resting against that point. All that's left is to give it a push. That's all it takes. Stop. I hear a voice, but I'm probably just imagining it. I hear a desperate shout in the distance. When I look toward the source, I see her rushing toward me, her wounds fully healed. Stop. I'll lose my nerve if I see her face. I know I'll feel too guilty to thrust my knife. So, before she reaches me, I give the knife in my hand a gentle push. It doesn't make a sound. I don't even feel it as the blade sinks into my body. That's all it takes. Whoa. That's all it takes. I sink into the deep, deep darkness, just as I once did many years ago. There's no way.
殿くん、殿くん。
I hear a voice.
殿くん、そんな、どうして。
See? I knew this would happen.
こんなの、私は嫌です。
I knew that if I heard her crying like this,
どうして。死なないって、死なないって言ったのに。
then I'd definitely end up regretting it. If you roll credits on me? Okay, save progress. Sure. I'd be delighted to save my progress.